said, my topic is evolutionary social entrepreneurship. So my presentation today focuses on three areas: attempts at defining social entrepreneurship, introducing the evolutionary social entrepreneurship model, and evolutionary social entrepreneurship as a transpartisan bridge connecting those with different ideologies and worldviews. So let me start back in the late 90s with the formation of the National Gathering for Social Entrepreneurship back in 1998. And some of you may know that a few years later that morphed into the Social Enterprise Alliance. Now, many of the leaders of the NGSE came out of the nonprofit world and were involved with CRPs, that is, community rehab programs that train disabled people for employment. So some of the founders of the National Gathering included Gary Mulhare, who was the CEO of Pioneer Human Services, a $50 million organization in Seattle that ran machine shops, warehouses, housing and food services, while providing counseling and skills training to clients leaving jail and drug rehab. Another founder was Jer Boucher, a consultant to many CRPs and a prolific writer on social entrepreneurship. Jed Emerson, the director of the Roberts Foundation, now REDF, who has written on blended value and impact investing, and who actually started as a social worker. And Greg Deese, who at that time was entrepreneur in residence at Stanford, later became the head of the Center for the Advancement of Social Entrepreneurship at Duke University. Now, Greg was probably the most influential in trying to define social entrepreneurship, connecting it with Schumpeter's ideas about creative destruction and capitalism, and characterizing social entrepreneurs as serving a dual mission while acting boldly and opportunistically, even while constrained by limited resources, and having heightened accountability to clients and customers. However, it soon became clear that social entrepreneurship was a contested concept, even though certain sub-elements such as social enterprise, social entrepreneurs, market orientation, and social innovation were universally accepted. As social entrepreneurship was expanding into academia, it was found mainly in the business school, as student-initiated clubs, and elements in other business courses such as finance and strategy, and ultimately as dedicated social entrepreneurship courses. Then social entrepreneurship began to be found in other schools, such as the engineering and service learning programs at Brown University and the social work program at Washington University in St. Louis. So we see social entrepreneurship becoming transdisciplinary. And this is a transdisciplinary model of social entrepreneurship, where we combine the social ventures with appropriate technology and transformational leadership. So what are transformational leadership and appropriate technology? Well, 150 key social entrepreneurship leaders stated in a Schwab Foundation for Social Entrepreneurship survey that transformational leadership was the most common and most desirable form of leadership found among the CEOs of their organizations. These leaders were empowering as well as spiritual and ethical role models for their employees. The survey also found that authoritarian leadership was considered the least desirable type of leadership, but if there was a type of leadership that was lacking, it was transactional leadership, linking performance to rewards and positive or negative feedback. Why is appropriate technology important? Well, because much of social entrepreneurship is related to developmental entrepreneurship, startups in areas of poverty both in the developed and developing world. Appropriate technology is designed to succeed in areas where there are serious educational and resource constraints and to maximize whatever resources are present. Now we come to the evolutionary social entrepreneurship model, which is right here. Evolutionary social entrepreneurship goes beyond the transdisciplinary model to create a more resilient model for the 21st century, acknowledging the challenges of climate change and the constant ideological squabbling and conflicts in the world. It recognizes the need to reconcile social entrepreneurship with different worldviews in order to create successful and effective collaborations. In order to create and lead these evolutionary social enterprises, there is a need for leaders that combine the transformational and transactional modes, who have strong emotional intelligence and the ability to deal with complexity and chaos. We call them transcendental leaders, and they are able to come up with the right mix of financial and ethical incentives to advance the organization without distorting its social mission. Evolutionary social entrepreneurs use regenerative technology, that is, technology that does no environmental harm and recycles and upcycles. One example I can give you is a company named Rentricity, which is a for-profit which recovers energy from the flow of water through water, wastewater, and industrial pipes and turns it into clean electricity with no environmental impact. So evolutionary social entrepreneurs use new business forms such as social benefit corporations. They use leadership skills and techniques such as community visioning, strategic planning, stakeholder surveys, et al. To bridge the traditional, modernist, and postmodernist worldviews and harness the transpartisan intelligence and resources of more and more stakeholders while multiplying the number of transpartisan collaborative experiments and innovations. In summation, social entrepreneurship with its dual focus on social and financial return can have evolutionary impact if opportunistic, multiple bottom line social ventures incorporate leadership displaying heightened accountability, empathy, and spirituality, and a technological focus appropriate to their concern with changing climate and with populations in poverty and with special needs. So I think